As I was driving to my vacation here in Yosemite this week, I looked around and just so many things kept touching me. I kept seeing the beauty everywhere and the quiet. And where we are now, I'm so excited. Don't tell my husband or my granddaughter we don't get reception. I'm so excited. They can't use their cell phones, can't use internet. And we just get to sit here and exist and go on hiking trails, which it's just beginning, so I haven't begun to do those yet. It was so weird though. We saw mountains and barely any houses, and they would be sprinkled on the hillside. And then we drove past this one place and we saw they were building storage units. And I was like, that stood out. It just reminded me so much of the city that I just left, that storage units. Now I want to say to you, we used to live in Italy. And when we lived in Italy as military members, we had to rent a place and they told us, don't bring very much clothing because you don't have storage. And I was like, what's that mean? They didn't have closets in their houses. The old Italian houses, you have rooms. You have a bedroom, you have a kitchen, you have a bathroom. And the idea of closets, because they get taxed there, by the way, for every extra room that they have, and a closet would be considered a room. So we had to get these wardrobes. So we got 1 or 2 per family. And we had what we had and we put it in that wardrobe and that was it. You made it fit. You didn't get too much. And I realized how much stuff we had to put into storage when we were in America, or when we were in Italy, but we had to leave a lot of our stuff in storage in America. So when we came back, the grandeur of even the smallest houses that we have, the closets that we have. I mean, literally, we have closets that we can make into baby nurseries or bedrooms. When I was a child, in one house, I put a twin bed in one of our closets. That is like a room. But we think about, what is a closet? A closet is storage. We store stuff. We store our clothing. We store clothing that we've never worn in the past year or 2 or 3 or 5 or more. I still have, don't laugh at me, I do this on purpose, and I'm not a pack rat, I'm actually an anti-pack rat. I still have my prom dresses from 1983 and 82, and so the idea just of a closet, when I've traveled to Africa and I've seen that the people there have so little, they have really no change of clothing. They have, and I'm not talking like most of Africa. I was in with the Maasai tribes. I was in Uganda, in the very poorest of poor, and they have one piece of clothing thing that they wrap around their bodies, and that's what they wore. Because why? I mean, it's clothing. It was to cover your body. It made me think about how many pieces of clothing I had, because some had a match. This one represents my team, and then I had to have purses that were the same color as my shoes, that were the same color as my clothing, and things like that. And then I thought about storage units. Storage units are so prolific here in America specifically. I don't know about all the other countries, but we have storage units because we have stuff. And it's not even clothing in our closets. It's extra stuff. Stuff that we have and we used to use, but we don't really want to use now, or we might want to use one day in the future. So we put it in this storage unit. We pay money every month so that someone else can hold our stuff in this place that we will likely never use again, because when we go back to our storage units, now I'm not talking about those of you that are building a house and you're going to get it. I'm talking about those of us that get a storage unit because I've got old bikes or old chests or old clothing or old this or old that, and things that I don't yet want to get rid of, but I don't use. What is that? Why do we have storage units? But the Bible talks about the fact that you store up here on earth your treasures. You know, don't store up the things that the moths are going to eat and that are going to rust. Go and store the things that you can take with you forever. Can I take my clothing with me? No. I mean, when I go to see God, I will be naked. Can I take my car? Can I take anything? I can definitely not take what's in that storage unit. And yet, we cling to it. Why do we cling to it? I mean, really, why do you have that stuff? And I will speak to those of you right now that are watching that have stuff. Why do you have it? Because I guarantee you, when you get that new house or a new place, or if you're not looking at it now, you'll never want to look at it later. If it's not a trinket on your shelf now, you won't want it as a trinket on your shelf later. If it's something Aunt Bessie gave you when she died and you have it there and you're going to pass it on to your kids, but you're not displaying it now, why save it for later so your kids can put it in a storage unit, so your kids can have this treasure on earth that Aunt Becky gave them? We have got to do a better job of pondering things. We've got to ponder why we do what we do, why we keep what we keep. What value is that stuff in there? Because if you have in there silver and gold, it could get stolen. But if it's not silver and gold, why do you keep it? Because in the deepest sense, it's a sin. Because we are putting value in things that have no eternal worth. They're temporal. They will rust. They will go away. And further, when you die, what are your kids going to do with it? You're going to throw away that stuff? Because when we do die, we will have to answer to God for the money, the $200 you spent each month. You could have been tithing that money, but instead you paid it to some random person to hold stuff that you'll never use. You could have used that money and sent it over to Uganda. Call me. I've got families there that I know personally. I've got a priest there that I support. He's doing good work. Send your money there. So we will have to answer to God, why did you hold that stuff? Every small thing we did, we'll have to answer for. Why did you hold on to that? You could have done better with that. Being out here just makes me think of what's important. And again, I'm so grateful to God. I don't want to store up anything here but experiences that bless God. And I pray you do the same. Get rid of the storage. Don't store anything but memories. Don't store anything but treasures that you can give God when you meet him that day and he says, what do you have to show me? And you show him, well, I helped save this soul and I helped this sick person. I fed the hungry. I clothed some sick with those clothes that I used to have in my storage unit or my closet. I gave stuff to people who needed it instead of clinging to it. And Lord, I decided to cling to you instead. Don't store up anything you don't need. As a matter of fact, shed it. You'll feel so much better the less you have. The more unencumbered you'll feel. What a great blessing. All right, so for me, I'm about to go store up some new memories, see if my granddaughter's ready, and so is my husband, and we're going to go out and see God's great earth. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon, filming here in Yosemite National Park, loving God, praising him. I want to thank you for watching this informational Bacon Bit and remind you truly to live your life sunny side up.